Hello, everyone. We're live now on YouTube, and this is Jyotsna Kaur Habibullah. I'm live here with George Abraham, the founding chairman of SCORE Foundation, and we're going to be talking about how during Daan Utsav we can amplify the positive power of giving. Thank you so much, George, for being here.
The pleasure is mine, Jyotsna. Thank you for having me.
So, Daan Utsav, the Joy of Giving Week, is coming up from the 2nd to the 8th of October. And this is the 15th year of Daan Utsav, also known as the Joy of Giving Week, a wonderful celebration of kindness and generosity where millions of people across India come together from October 2 to 8 to give back to society in meaningful ways. And it's not just about giving money, it's about giving your time, your resources, anything, your skills, in any way that you can contribute to uplifting communities, spreading joy, doing absolutely anything, including having a nighttime tea with your night watchman, to larger national events, which we'll talk about later. It's just a reminder that small acts of kindness can create lasting change, uniting people across India and in all walks of life for greater good. It's an opportunity to pause, reflect, and contribute to building a more compassionate and inclusive world. So, here with me is one of the very, very inspiring people that I really look up to. George Abraham is the founding chairman of World Blind Cricket Council. He's the CEO of SCORE Foundation, a motivational speaker, and an advocate for social change. Visually impaired from the age of 10 months, George graduated from St. Stephen's College, my college too, and started his career in advertising, working with agencies like Advertising and Sales Promotion Company, Ogilvy, Benson and Mather, and has been a pioneer of cricket for the blind. He believes that blindness is not the problem, rather the real challenge is the mindset. He launched Project iWay, a single-stop knowledge resource on living life with blindness. Project iWay disseminates information, connects people who need help with resources, and helps fight discrimination. Thank you so much, George, for being here. Please share some insights with us about how you think people can inculcate giving into their lives and some of your experiences.
Yeah, so uh, when I look back at my own life and entry into the social sector, I realized that a lot of things that I enjoy doing can also bring happiness and excitement into other people's lives. I've been as a kid growing up a passionate lover of cricket, like most of us Indians are, and actually wanted to play cricket myself. I grew up at a time when we had no fast bowlers in the team, so I wanted to be a fast bowler. And I think it was in sometime in January of 1989, I happened to visit a school for the blind and saw a bunch of kids playing cricket, and they were all blind. They were playing with a ball that rattled. And what one could very plainly see is they were enjoying themselves. There was so much of happiness around the ground. And when I went close and spoke to them, they said, one guy said, I'm Sachin Tendulkar. Another guy said, I'm Imran Khan. They all had identified with some legendary cricketer, and they were referred to as that. And that's when I realized that why don't we just create a small platform where these kids can play the game at a competitive level and maybe go on to represent the country one day, like the the Gavaskars and the Tendulkars and the Kohlis. So that's when I just moved towards organizing a national cricket tournament, and there were about 400 young blind kids who had come to Delhi to play that tournament. And we were in this whole event went on for about 9 days, and there was so much of excitement while the matches were going on. And in the evenings, when we met at the camp, though the living conditions were pretty difficult over there, it was the scouting camp of the Bharat Scouts and Guides. The facilities were not very great. It was cold, but the kids were just happy. And that's when I realized that, you know, this whole business of bringing happiness to people could, not only does it bring happiness and joy to you, but it also spreads the message that, these are kids, they are blind, but there's a lot of life in them and they have a lot to contribute. And that's how cricket for the blind blossomed into an international sport. And so, likewise, um, there are many such things that have started on a small scale but evolved into something major. I was traveling around the country interacting with blind kids, and I suddenly realized that, you know, uh, all of them like to talk, all of them like to talk about themselves, all of them had aspirations. Very often, when we think of somebody who's blind, we straight away say, okay, let him make candles or let him, prepare chain a chair or let him learn music. This is the kind of traditional understanding that most people have about blindness. And even today, for that matter, people think that they just need to be looked after. And, when I spoke to these blind kids, somebody said, I want to be a bureaucrat. There was somebody else who told me that he wanted to be a professor. There was a girl who said, I want to be a collector. So, there were varying levels of aspirations. Some of them seemed ridiculous when they spoke about it. But then I just felt that it was important to light a little spark that gives them light and the direction to move in a different direction, in a definite direction, whether they want to be a lawyer or a bureaucrat, just tell them what they need to do. And, some of them have actually fulfilled their dreams. There are a couple of them I know who become bureaucrats, one at Jharkhand and the other in Uttar Pradesh. There are people who went on to become lawyers. So it's about guiding people. And some people might say you're helping people, but I think what you're really doing is lighting a spark and lighting a spark that might bring eternal joy to people. Maybe, Jyotsna, you could do some sharing yourself.
Yes, in fact, I was talking to George just earlier about when I was in college. Inderjeet Singh was probably from my batch or maybe a batch senior, and he was preparing for his, he was taking his political science exams, and we had this program for reading for the visually impaired, and I read to him. I think I didn't help him with his exams. Somebody else did help him with his exams, but I think over the 3 years I was at St. Stephen's, I recorded various chapters for him, and I would meet him when he would come to college and read to him. And I wonder, George, you said that you have a professor at Khalsa College who may be the same age and would be Inderjeet. So it would be amazing. For a few years, I was in touch with him, and he had told me that he's, become a teacher, and that was, in 1998 or 1999. So it would be so interesting to know now what Inderjeet is doing now.
Was Indrajit from college, Jyotsna, or he's come to college for help?
Now that's something that I just, it was 30 years ago. But the thing is that it's these little things. I mean, when I'm, I grew up in Delhi, and my grandparents used to take us to the Gurdwara every Sunday. And, as Sikhs, when we go to the Gurdwara, there's absolutely anything that you can do. You can pick up people's shoes and put them in place. You pick up dishes and give them to people. You serve food, and people who can cook, of course, go to the kitchen and cook. And it's an amazing experience to grow up with, because you learn that, number one, there's no community work that is not, that is in any way taboo, and number two, you learn just the joy of just sitting and doing something together, eating together, that I don't think is anywhere else. And it's something still that I enjoy so much on a Sunday for some special occasion, taking my children, or just going to a gurdwara anywhere. So I think that started, earlier on in life for me, and that helped inculcate this sort of feeling in me, and seeing that in my family. And then a very close friend of mine from school, Nina, actually introduced the concept of Daan Utsav to me 10 years ago now, in 2015. And I had just moved to Lucknow. My children were small. I was starting my business. I thought that, I cannot possibly be involved with anything else. But the kind of people who are part of this festival, and the kind of people you meet auto drivers who want to give people free rides. In Chennai, there's a vegetable market where the vegetable vendors will actually give free vegetables on that particular day during the Utsav. In Orissa, there's a Seva Mela, which is organized in a village called Baramba, and everybody in the village just does anything that they can for everyone else. Through Goonj, we learned how. I mean, we have my husband's family village, Sedanpur, where we are working, and we've set up a rural livelihood center with the Digital Empowerment Foundation. The concept is always on the donor, right? We must do something for this group of people. This is what's going to happen to that group of people. But through Daan Utsav, I learned that the concept is in reminding ourselves and other people around us that the joy in giving is what we need to share and spread for more people to experience, because people just shy away, right, from just those little acts of giving.
I must, if I might just jump in here, this happiness business is fantastic, and it's a great concept. You do something which brings excitement to people around you, but I think that excites you as well. You feel good about it, you feel happy. And this cricket venture of mine actually gave me the opportunity of meeting and interacting with a lot of people whom I had idealized when I was growing up. And I think that was a rare opportunity. And I didn't get into this cricket business to meet people, but it was just to do something and contribute to cricket and the happiness that blind cricketers had. But as a result, I had the privilege of sitting down and interacting with Kapil Dev, with Sunil Gavaskar, and Harsha Bhogle, and the people like that. So it is. You've got to go out and be nice to people, give people what you can give, share with people. And when you share love, you receive love. When you share joy, you receive joy.
Absolutely. And that's what we've, for instance, there's a group of there's an after school program that's run by a volunteer here for Daan Utsav in Lucknow. And they're called Swatantra Talim, and they work with government children with an after school program. Those children have, in fact, come to different places. They've come to our village, and they've taught children how to make toys from scratch. So that was the most amazing experience. When they came to the village, they brought straws. I mean, they asked us, and we collected straws and different things. They made whistles with straws. So when the children saw that, this was just this amazing little toy that they could make with something as simple as a straw. And these children actually, spent a whole day where they came out with us, and they spent the whole day with us, coming to the village and teaching the children. And it was just amazing seeing that whole interaction. And they are now doing puppetry. They are called Swatantra Talim, and I hope you meet them. So I want to also tell everyone that George is going to be coming to Lucknow on the 22nd of
Second,
October.
yeah, 22nd to the 24th as of now. It could well be 21st to the 25th, depending on who is willing to meet up with me.
Okay, great. So I hope that lots of people are going to respond and send messages in on either way, because we're on the Bhumi YouTube page right now, but this is also posted the link on Twitter and on Facebook, and it'll go on LinkedIn and Instagram. So George will be coming to Lucknow. And George, what are you coming to Lucknow for?
Well, there are three broad objectives. One is to interact and engage with young blind kids of Lucknow and adjoining townships. Second is to meet up with organizations working with the blind and with disability. The third is to get to know people at the government level people who are social welfare officers and state commissioner, persons with disability, and so on. And fourthly, we would also be doing presentations and interactions with the university students at the Moinuddin Chisti University. There is another mass communication uh, college where we are going to be interacting with them. The topic being communication can drive social change. We have a model in iWay, which is essentially a communication project, which has actually resulted in social change. So we are sharing this idea and hopefully inspiring young masscom students to actually look at communication that they're learning to actually drive social change. So these are some of the engagements that have been objectives that we are coming to Lucknow with, and also hoping to meet up with people from college, hoping to meet up with people of Lucknow, and exchange ideas, and maybe it might lead to some other collaborations doing good to the world.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what I have experienced in the last 10 years being a volunteer for Daan Utsav, that what it's helped me amplify the work that I'm doing. So I run Lucknow Farmers Market, and this is a platform that's now digital. It's a physical and digital platform. We're online on lucknowfarmersmarket.com, and at the moment we are representing close to 5,000 entrepreneurs, farmers, startups, artisans, people making everything from growing wheat and rice to making some amazing products. This is my bottle, which I use is the bamboo and steel bottle. I mean, absolutely, we have a village here in UP where they make beautiful crochet bags. I have 60,000 products available, and in fact, we also help people to celebrate festivals in a more sustainable manner, because I think every festival in India, what we end up doing is just generating more garbage. So whether it's Rakhi or Diwali, we just show people how during Rakhi you can use seed bands, during Diwali use mitti diyas, reuse your diyas. Goonj, in fact, will collect your diyas after Diwali. How to We are celebrating this Daan Utsav, in fact, at Lucknow Farmers Market on the 6th of October at Habibullah Estate in Lucknow, and giving free stalls to rural women, to rural women's groups like the Lucknow Mahila Seva Trust, the Deaf Women's Welfare Foundation. We have some amazing artists and hearing impaired crafts people who are making some really beautiful products. We have also the FICCI Women's Wing Rural Initiative, where they're making crochet bags, and they're making some lovely incenses and beautiful products in villages around Lucknow. And the idea is actually to bring women and women's groups forward, to give them financial freedom, because I think when women have financial freedom, they bring the whole family and the community forward.
Yeah, I just want to. I just can I just add a little
Yes,
piece over
yes.
here. I personally have been alongside cricket. I've been very passionate about radio and television, and uh, uh, and films. And in fact, when I started my work with the blind, my aspiration was to make a TV series, make a film, and I had started a dialogue with Sashi Kapoor. Now, these things are personal aspirations, but what I would like to say is, in 2006, I got the opportunity of producing a series of close to 300 radio programs over a period of 9 years. And I, of course, enjoyed the entire process of production and broadcast. But what was more exciting was that knowledge that we shared got a lot of people around the country to call us up and share their lives and their life challenges with us. And we interacted with them, gave them information, connected them with services and resources, There was a person from Varanasi who had called us up. He was a school teacher and he had given up his job because he suddenly lost his eyesight. And a friend of his said, "Look, there is this interesting radio program. Why don't you listen to it?" And he called us up. And after hearing him, our counselor said that, "Look, there is technology available today. Blind people use computers with screen reading software. Why don't you learn how to use the screen reading software?" We connected him with an organization working with the blind in Varanasi. And we said, "Go back to your school and request them to take you back. Prepare your lectures on your computer, and you should be able to teach." And sure enough, in a matter of, I think, 6 to 8 months, the guy was back at his job, his family, his wife, and two children. They were thrilled and they were happy. And I believe, you know, uh, there are many ways that you can actually spread happiness and hope in people's life. And there are many such examples that I can talk about, right from 2006, for example, till now, when I've done things which I've enjoyed, but at the same time, reached out to people, given them hope, given them joy, give them given them the opportunity to live a life of dignity and become part of the economy, contributing to it.
So, what would you say, George, would be sort of your the one struggle and how you overcame it? Because I think that's something that helps other people also know. They may think that because you started a foundation, you're so well known, you're written about, we can Google you and read and hear so much about you, that perhaps you didn't go through the same struggles they did.
Well, I believe that everybody who lives life has their own share of struggles. As you introduced me, Jyotsna, you said that I had lost my vision when I was 10 months old. Every day in school was a struggle. Every day in school was a challenge because I could not see the blackboard. I could not read what the teacher was teaching. I had to depend on my classmates, my parents to help me with my studies. There were a lot of things that I wanted to do, which I could not do. So, uh, struggles come in different shapes and sizes. And, even when I got into my advertising jobs, there was no technology to support me at that time. Today, of course, you have screen reading softwares and smartphones and so on, which are tremendous aids when you are in your professional space. But when I was growing up in the advertising industry, it is a very visual industry, and it was a massive challenge to actually compete and stay with the head above water. And that's why after college into advertising, and then I was up 9 years into the industry. I suddenly realized that I don't really have a future in advertising. I need to look at something which would uh, A, be exciting, B, be financially sustainable, at the same time, uh, give me the independence and the dignity and the opportunity to live life on my own terms. And that's when my visit to the blind school happened. I saw things there which inspired me, angered me, and challenged me to take up work which would bring happiness into the lives of people who are visually impaired. And as luck would have it, I saw the game of cricket being played, and then nothing to stop. Life started running along, and things started happening, and and one led to the other, and so challenges are there, struggles are there. Even today, running these programs, the outreach program, the communication program, the training programs, you need funding and communication in the social space. So everybody says it's important, but CSR funding or any kind of funding for communication is very difficult to come by. And that's something which is a struggle every year.
Yes,
And
that's a question that I got on DM from Nanved, and that's the question that he's asked. That how can one get funding, and what sort of organizations can we reach out to get funding, for any kind of community-based activity for the visually impaired? Are there specific organizations? I will be sharing your email, George, so I'll put it on the message now, and I'll add it to the link as well.
Talking about Nanded, the first team that came for the first national tournament in 1990 was from from a blind school from a place called Bodadi Boo, which was in Nanded. And there was a left-handed batsman in that team whom his teammates very fondly called Azharuddin. And the first match that they played was against Delhi, and this guy Fayaz, Sheikh Fayaz, who's called Azharuddin, he made 148 not out, and the team won. So Nanded has a special place in my memory.
Okay, that's great. So he's already going to his email is going to be read first by you.
Okay.
Would you be able to tell us some organizations that he could reach, that in general people could reach out to, one or two organizations you could share?
What is the kind of work he's doing? Meaning, it depends on that. Because if it is education related, then there would be certain agencies that there are organizations like Tech Mahindra Foundation and so on who possibly can be approached. If it is community related work, then we probably need to look at. Uh, there are corporates who would be. See, each corporate has a set agenda of 4, 5 different projects, kind of work that they support. And so you would need to kind of look at, uh, go through on the internet, go through the profiles of the various corporates, and then identify uh, who is focused on community development, or who's focused on sports. For example, right now, Hyundai Motors, they are very interested in people with disability. They are into promoting disability sport. They are into promoting Paralympics. They are into promoting cricket for the blind. So that is one of their agenda. They're also into supporting communications. So there are different organizations. There is this Cipla Foundation, who are into cancer mitigation, palliative care, and so on. There are certain other organizations which are, I think, Standard Chartered Bank, for example, is funding a lot of community-based work with disability. There are people into medical care. So we'll need to kind of look at what is the social agenda that various corporates are committed to, and approach them accordingly. And then,
Okay,
of course, you can get into these crowdfunding platforms like Keto and so on, and raise. But there you can raise 5 to 10 lakhs maybe. Then there is the Delhi Marathon, which is happening, the Bombay Marathon, which happens in January. You could have people running there for you and raising money for you. So these are some of the quick ways of getting some money on board.
great. Those are some great ideas, and I'm sure that people can also reach out if they have a specific question and ask you. So one question, of course, that I have for you, George, is that especially now in the week coming up of Daan Utsav, uh, what's your message to people, that how they can just do either a simple act of giving, or how do you suggest that they can celebrate Daan Utsav?
Well, I would say a couple of things. One is decide to be nice to people around you, and reach out and talk to people, interact with people, because that's when you know what the average person actually needs. The second thing is, uh, I would say, from a very selfish point of view and based on my own experience, try and help organizations who are doing interesting, unique things, which is potentially very useful, and impactful. At the same time, it is different because new ideas find it extremely difficult to find support. So I think I would bat for new innovative ideas, which on the face of it might not look, uh, might not fit the regular shoe, but it's time for us to look at innovation, look at newer ideas, which reaches out, which has the potential to scale and reach out to a lot of people. So that's what I would say. Uh, because that I'd started my work. People were willing to support me if I started a school. People are willing to support me if I started a rehabilitation center or a skilling center. But people were not prepared to support sports. And today, the story has changed now. Cricket for the Blind does get uh, some funding, which has made it possible to really scale up. So, so look at new innovative programs which has potential.
That's great, George. That's such a nice thing to say. Is that firstly, be nice to people and reach out and see what you think people want. That's an amazing tip to give people. Well, here in Lucknow and around Uttar Pradesh, there's a whole host of activities that are happening, as are happening around the country. So around the country, there's an amazing initiative called Fistful of Joy, where schools can actually tell their students to just collect a fistful of grains and bring it in at the end of the week. You can start it earlier, do it for a month, and then either the school can cook a meal together, share it with a local orphanage, with an old people's home. The idea is also to sit and eat together, not just to give some grains. Of course, give the grains to Gunj, collect books, collect toys, and give it to government schools, set up a library in an area close to you, in the village perhaps, that you're connected to. There are so many organizations like Bhumi, like Robin Hood Army. In UP and Bihar, we have an amazing organization called UPNP Plus that works for people with HIV. And I've seen how amazingly they all come together during Daan Utsav, because they see how the message gets amplified, and the stigma of people with HIV, which are basically women and children, they are able to get more nutritional support, they're able to get education support. So there's absolutely anything that you can do. Just go to danutsav.org and have a look, because all it needs is you to extend a hand to somebody else, and the change that you can bring in their life can be transformative.
Yeah, alongside giving, I would also suggest that go and spend time with the people you are giving to, so that you uh, also enjoy what you have given, because you'll see and experience the difference that you have actually made.
Absolutely. That's exactly what Danutsav is about. That it's not about just giving a dan of money or resources. It's actually about giving your time, about giving your skills. Just going and spending time with somebody is something that can really make a difference. So thank you so much, George. I hope that the conversation we've had today.
Yeah, one last thing I'd like to very
Yes, of
quickly say,
course.
if you don't
Yes.
mind. Uh, you know, Socially, a lot of people with disability feel left out of the society. So I would say that when you meet a person with disability, many of them would be delighted if you can give them company over a cup of tea, maybe over a meal, spend time with them, go out shopping with them, go out to a movie with them, and you will find that that is just as effective and impactful as you're giving them funds if they need it.
What a wonderful thing to say. What a simple thing to do. Just going for a cup of coffee with somebody. So let's be, let's look around, let's become more humane to the people around us. And remember, I mean, I look at George and it's so inspiring what he's done and achieved. So just remember that, if there is something that God has taken away, I think that, George, you are blessed with so much more courage, so much resilience, and, so much dedication to helping those around you. And you've achieved far more than what many other people have achieved in this much time. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen going forward. So please, everyone, join us. Let's make this week of Daan Utsav a really impactful week. Go to danutsav.org, and also please follow George's iWay Foundation and the SCORE Foundation. George, do you want to give a quick message about the iWay before we go?
Yeah, we, as I said, as you said in the beginning, Jyotsna, we believe that blindness is not the real problem, it is the mindset. Every blind person is potentially part of the human resource of India. So it's about investing in them, providing them with education, providing them with empowerment opportunity, and providing them with an ecosystem that is accessible. You don't have to provide for them. You don't have to look after them. They will look after themselves. Empower them, provide them with the opportunity, invite them into the society, be friends with them, travel along with them, accompany them, and you'll find that India would be a different country altogether.
What an amazing thing to say. So the world would be a different place because we can create this ripple of positive change that can touch countless lives. So let's make kindness a part of our lives every day, starting now with Daan Utsav and then going forward. Thank you so much, George, and look forward
Thank,
to seeing you in Lucknow.
thank you, Jyotsna, for inviting me onto the show. It is a pleasure talking to you and talking to the people who are logged in.
Thank you, everyone. If anybody who's here with us would now like to say something, we can just have a minute or two where we can allow you all to unmute yourselves. You could just send me a message if you're not able to unmute. Who do we have? We have Himanshu, we have Naseem, uh, we have Mr. Jha. All right, so do feel free to message us later and be in touch with us. Messages are on our group, on our posts. Thanks so much, George. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.